She's directing people outside. We'll recognize her when she comes in. And Yvette Cassis, Director of Managed Care. Stand up. And Jeremy, whom I always goof up his name. I did it the other night, but Jeremy is our VP for Finance, doing an outstanding job. We also have Ken Gould. Is Ken in the house? He's our Director of Logistics. Peter Wood, Director of Planning and Development. Carolina Castillo, the Director of Human Resources. And Jose Camones, who is Director of IT. Jose, he's back there working, okay? But I would like, at this time, anybody in the audience who is attending our meeting for the first time to just please stand up wherever you are. New employees. We'd like to welcome you to the CHI family. And today I'm not going to ask you to introduce yourselves, but I'm asking all of our employees who's been with us for a while just to say hello to these new employees and make them feel welcome to the CHI family. Thank you so much. I'm going to do something just a little bit different this morning than I have done before. I'm going to ask you to stand by sight. And we're going to start with Tavernier. Tavernier, all right. And also, you may be seated, also Everglades. Anybody here from Everglades? Martin Luther King. South Dade. Naranja. West Kendall. All right. West Perrine. South Miami. Coconut Grove. And Doris Eisen. Thank you so much for standing and being recognized. We're so proud of every one of our sites, and sometimes we just need to stop and spend a little time to recognize you for all that you do to take care of our patients and to represent CHI. I got you. School-based. Yes. The Teaching Health Center. We've got so many sites and so much activity going on at CHI the comprehensive array of services that we provide to the community and the teaching that we do with our teaching health center and all of the nursing students and medical students that rotate through our facility, I think you all can be proud of all that you do to, first of all, take care of our patients and to train the next generation of healthcare professionals. So give yourselves another round of applause.
The screen just froze.
Okay.
We'll get it back up.
Okay, thank you. A little technical difficulty this morning, but we're gonna, when we get a little technical difficulty, we can always go back to paper, right? So that's what I'm going to do at this time, go back to paper. A leader in comprehensive community health care, that's what you are at CHI. We want to talk just a little bit about some of the activities at CHI and share with you at this time to bring everybody up to date, especially our new employees, with who we are and what we do. First of all, we have a board of directors at CHI which meets the federal guidelines for boards of directors at federally qualified health centers. And currently, our officers for our board are Mr. Arjun Saluja, who is the chair of the board, Mr. Jeffrey Coldren, the first vice chair, Mr. Louis Torrens, the second vice chair, Mr. Carlos St. Cyr, treasurer, and Susan Scott, secretary. I won't try to go through all the list of the other board members of the board of directors, but we want you to be familiar at least with the officers of our board. And the requirements from the Federal Bureau of Primary Health Care is that at least 51% of our board must be users of the health center services. We also have representation of the community we serve. We bring on people to the board who have expertise in community affairs, local government, finance, and banking, or social services. And no more than 50% or one-half of the non-consumer board members may derive more than 10% of their income from the healthcare industry. So these are some requirements that I want to make you aware of and why we have a board with the composition that we have. We must meet these federal guidelines in terms of our board of directors. So now, what is the CHI motto? Oh my God, you can do better than that. What is the CHI motto? Wonderful. Patient care comes first. And that drives everything we do at CHI. It doesn't matter whether we are a physician or a nurse providing direct patient care, or if we are in administration as I am, or environmental services, we all must know that patient care comes first at CHI. And it should drive everything we do. If we are engaged in other activities, we need to stop and take care of the patient. A quote that we like to use as we continue on our journey to excellence: perfection is not attainable, but if we chase perfection, we can catch excellence. And that quote is attributed to Vince Lombardi. Our journey to excellence comes or is supported by our mission statement to deliver safe, accessible, compassionate, and culturally competent quality healthcare services to the people of South Florida while training the next generation of healthcare professionals. That's our mission. It's with your badge. You have it on you all the time. And we all should be familiar with that mission. Our vision at CHI is to become the healthcare provider of choice for the people in South Florida and a teaching health center of excellence for healthcare professionals. And I want to just stop for a moment and mention the fact that we have graduated 2 classes of physicians from our residency program. In the first class, we had a physician who passed her boards before she graduated, Dr. Gerber. And in the second class, we had 100% of our physicians passing their boards. That's outstanding. So, Dr. Philippe, you're doing an outstanding job. This journey to excellence that I spoke about, we began with a partnership with the Studer Group. The Studer Group is a performance improvement organization that works with hospitals and other healthcare organizations around the nation. And we moved from the Studer Group to the Sterling Performance Improvement. And I am so proud that CHI is the only FQHC to receive the Florida Governor's Sterling Award, the only. And through Sterling, we have provided training in Six Sigma for nearly 70 staff, and that includes yellow belt and green belt certificates being received by our staff. Our 2018 theme is AAACT, and that acronym stands for Alignment, Action, Accountability, and Compliance, not tomorrow, but today. We began our organization in 1971 out of 2 double-wide trailers at Southwest 216th Street and US Highway 1. And we were inspired by a lady by the name of Doris Eisen. Doris Eisen was an activist in this community, and she had only a third-grade education. And when we look at her history, we all should be inspired by Doris Eisen, because with only a third-grade education, she became an activist and concerned about her community and concerned about the people who had no access to health care in our community. At that time, many people would not be served by the Homestead Hospital or by Coral Reef Hospital. And so she said, "I am tired of these children dying on the way to Jackson Memorial Hospital." And that was what propelled her to organize and get support for the establishment in those 2 double-wide trailers, the first community health center for CHI, to provide service to anyone residing in our community. And so today, CHI is one of the largest of over 1,400 such organizations in the United States, providing comprehensive integrated primary care and behavioral health HIV/AIDS services. We now have 11 healthcare centers, as you noted from the people who stood up at the various sites, and we are in 35 schools with school-based centers. We are an exceptional organization. So give yourself another round of applause. I'm not going to go through all of the sites again, but I do want to continue to talk about CHI in regards to our economic impact on the community that we serve. Capital Link prepares annually a report for our health center. And from that report, we note that CHI injected $60 million of operating expenditures and induced an economic activity of $60.7 million. So when you add that up, that is over $120 million impact upon the community we serve. And every 2 weeks, we have to pay all of our employees, right? Anybody know how much that costs us every 2 weeks? Go ahead. $1.3 million every 2 weeks to meet payroll. CHI pays a lot of rent, a lot of mortgage, and buys a lot of cars in this community. We support, in addition to the over 700 jobs at CHI, we support another 398 jobs in other industries. So it is important sometimes for you to just take time to realize our organization that you're a part of, and when you go out in your community, talk to your neighbors, talk to your friends, you can tell them the CHI story and our impact upon the community, not only in terms of the health care we provide for anyone who walks into our center. We don't turn people away, but also the economic impact of our organization on the community. Just want to briefly talk about some of our achievements. CHI has received the HRSA Health Center Quality Leader Award for 2018. we're not just another organization, we are a quality organization providing quality care to the people we serve. We are accredited by the Joint Commission in Ambulatory Care, Behavioral Health, and Laboratory. We have been recognized as a patient-centered medical home, level 3, by the NCQA. And we are the second federally qualified health center in the nation to become a behavioral health medical home. Let's give a round of applause. Now, when people talk about the Affordable Care Act, and you've heard a lot during this voting season about the Affordable Care Act, there are some who still want to get rid of it. But the Affordable Care Act has brought about significant change in the way that we practice medicine in the United States, impacting not only our FQHCs, but other entities in our communities. Meaningful use. What do we mean by meaningful use? This is recognizing how well we utilize the electronic health record to provide service. So CHI has achieved meaningful use. We have been recognized by Chamber South with the High Growth Award. In 2016, we were the recipient of the Governor Sterling Award, which I mentioned previously. And we are one of 50 FQHCs invited to participate in the National Network for Oral Health Access. The only, and I repeat, the only community health center in Florida to operate a HRSA-funded teaching health center. And in 2017, you served 84,000 unduplicated patients. Give yourself a hand. Yeah, you can do it. And we had over 280,000 patient visits for care. That is tremendous, folks. That sets us apart from others community health centers. I want to talk just a little bit about HCN. HCN was founded by 3 health centers here in Miami-Dade County. It was founded by Economic Opportunity Health Center, which is now known as Jesse Trice Health Center, Helen B. Bentley Health Center, which of course not in existence anymore, and CHI. We also brought on the health center from Fort Myers, and we formed a network, and it's now known as Health Choice Network, a health center controlled network. And I thought it important to address this because a board member brought up a question at our last board meeting about Health Choice Network and some of the rumors that are going around within our organization about Health Choice Network. And I repeat, Health Choice Network is a health center controlled network. So what do I mean by that? The directors of Health Choice Network are the CEOs of the health centers that are part of the network. The CEOs determine the direction and they provide the governance for Health Choice Network. So Health Choice Network is not taking over CHI. CHI is taking over Health Choice Network. So since October of 2017, the network has provided for us CFO services, restored cash reserves to $3 million, expense reduction of $4.2 million. We have 100% migration of all users to Citrix Cloud technology and security. The implementation of new IT hardware for all of our sites to be completed by December of this year. We formed Health Choice Network because at the time, none of our health centers that I mentioned, that is Economic Opportunity, Coconut Grove, CHI, or Fort Myers, had the money to implement functional IT systems, nor did we have the expertise within our staff. And by coming together, we were able to get a grant to implement IT within our health centers. And during that time, to get this organization moving forward, we used to talk about giving up for the greater good. And by that, we had Margarita Olette, who came from Jesse Trice Health Center. We had Alex Romeo, who came from CHI. We had Kevin Kearns, who came from Fort Myers. Very talented people that we gave up out of our organizations to form this thing called Health Choice Network. And I wanted to take time to just go over that with you to dispel some ideas and some of the conversation about Health Choice Network. Of course, we're going to open up for questions at the end of all presentations, as we always do. But right now, the next person coming up will be our Chief Operating Officer, Blake Hall. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Colonel.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
You're going to have it?
Yeah, they're having technology challenges. I'll explain it. So good morning, everyone. How are y'all doing? I would like to thank you for that nice, warm welcome. And when Dr. Amofa gets up, nobody claps, right? I actually, we have an agreement that we've both raised the white flag between us, so you shouldn't see any jokes this morning, so we'll see if he honors that. So before I get started, I do want to apologize to everyone because we are having technical challenges with the PowerPoint that we normally have rolling in the background, and so you'll see it coming in and out as we try to take care of that. We will make these slides available to you, and so if anyone would like to see them, we just let us know and we'll make sure that you get them. So a few things that I want to mention. Number one is our HRSA operational site visit. Does everybody remember that happened? Okay. Number two is the CHI strategic plan. 3 is employee rounding accomplishments. And then I want to talk a little bit about America's health centers. And obviously, before we get out of here, I want to mention 2 quick comments about going out to vote. So number one, HRSA's operational site visit. Can anybody explain that in the audience? Anyone? Okay, so basically, the HRSA operational site visit is an assessment that the federal government does on community health centers to make sure that we're operating within the law of a community health center. And our operational site visit was actually July 18th through the 20th. We actually had several individuals come to do an assessment, to interview many of you, to interview our leadership, to interview our board, to make sure that we were operating as we should. So I'm very happy to announce, we've actually communicated this already, but for those of you who are not aware, I want to make sure that you know, we got 100% compliance. That is amazing. And so you all should be very proud. You should be proud of yourselves. You should be proud of administration. You should be proud of our board. 100% compliance, you know what that means? That means that CHI, as far as following HRSA's guidelines, are within the top 20% of community health centers. And the reason why we're there is because since they started doing the operational site visits over the last year, from January to August of 2018, they have done 238 operational site visits. And only 20%, so about 50 health centers, got 100% compliance, and we were one of them. So we were one of 50 that were perfect. So congratulations to you all. And just to let you know how much better we are than other folks, when you look at the health centers that are part of Health Choice Network, on average, those health centers who went through the operational site visit, those health centers had 1.3 conditions, which means that they had to go and clean up something, make changes to their policies, address their board, address how they're working with patients, and so we didn't have any of that. And so I thank each one of you because that makes my job easier, makes Dr. Mofa's job easier, Mr. Hartley, our board, and so we're perfect there. So some of the findings, just as an FYI, when health centers go through the operational site visit, they find out that either their sliding fee discount program isn't correct and they hadn't addressed it, contracts and subawards, sometimes clinical staffing, board authority, and billing and collection. So those were the top issues that were typically found. So on to strategic planning, and we're back. So a little bit about strategic planning. Perfect, thank you. So a little bit about strategic planning. We actually do this every year with the staff and with board and with leadership. And I just wanted to share with you where we are right now in that part of the process. So in July and August, we actually sent out an email communication to everyone. It's basically a very short survey. I think it was 5 questions, asking all of you your input and feedback. And so we sent out that link, and we'll send it again out today because it's still open. So far, we have about 240 responses. We have almost 700 employees who would like to see feedback from everybody. October 23rd, we actually had a meeting with the CHI board, and we went through those exact same questions. On November 12th, we will have corporate staff strategic planning day, where we look at what the board, how the board responded to those questions, how all of you responded to those questions, and then we actually create the strategic plan. So that vision of what we're trying to accomplish for the next 1 to 3 years. And then on December 18th, we're planning to have the strategic plan done and present that to the board so that we can be on and moving come January 1. So I did want to take a minute and share some data here. So of all those questions we asked, one of the questions was, do you fully support CHI's existing mission and vision? We asked that to staff and board. You see 99.6% of you said yes, 100% of the board said yes. Question 2, staff fully support CHI values. That was asked of you and the board. 98.7% of you said yes, and 100% of the board. But here's the interesting part. One of the other questions was, what do you think that leadership and the health center should focus on over the next year? And the staff's response was employee retention, patient wait time, communication, the phone system, and training should all be our priorities for the next year. When we asked the same question to the board, we got some additional feedback from them, and it was patient experience, attracting new patients, patient retention. Those should be our top priorities. And the board's additional comment to that was, when you look at the patient experience, it encompasses what you all as staff has said about the patient wait time and communication and our phone system. And so I wanted to share that with you so that you can see that you're aligned with what the board is saying. And we're actually taking steps right now to address some of those things. So a couple comments, or a couple points about employee rounding and our accomplishments related to that. Does anybody know what employee rounding is? Hopefully most of us. I say this every time, lie to me. We all know, we don't know. Can anyone explain it? No hands, or you just want me to do it? I see a couple nods, yes. Okay, so employee rounding is a 5-minute conversation that supervisors are to have with their direct reports. Its whole purpose and intent is to make sure that you have the tools that you need to succeed. It's to make sure that you don't have any tough questions or concerns, and that us as supervisors can help to make sure that you're able to do your job effectively. And then part of the background of that is it helps build a relationship between staff and their manager, their supervisor. It's only supposed to be 5 minutes. It's not supposed to be in a closed, confined area or anywhere in a place of authority. So it can be done in the staff's office, it can be done in the hallway, it can be done in the parking lot. But there are set questions that we ask every quarter, and we take the feedback and we try to go back and resolve issues. And so one of the things that we do as senior leadership is we take all of that information. We take all of it and we review it to look for trends. And then we look to try to solve some problems. So I wanted to share with you some of the things that we've accomplished over the last 8 months, or January through August. So we got 7 new air conditioning units installed at Martin Luther King Center, brand new AC units. We also repaired several computers. We fixed emergency lights and faucets were replaced. Furniture was delivered for staff. Employee lockers were also delivered. Office lights were repaired. Television was installed. Toilets were repaired. Painting was completed. Windows have been replaced. Part-time staff was hired. Phone systems were addressed. Printers were installed. Also, we mounted some signage. We did hire some staff. Vaccines were ordered, and wireless was also installed. All of that was as a result of employee rounding. And so when we come to you every month, well, actually rounding used to be done every month. We just recently decided that it will only be done every quarter. So I know there was always some communication around, well, you know, the same questions are asked every 3 months. Now, rounding is going to be transitioning to only every quarter. And so we still want all of the information, so please don't feel as if your supervisor only does rounding with you. You can't share any information. You can always share information with them. But we wanted to make sure that we continue with rounding, but we wanted to make sure that it doesn't continue to stay stale as part of that process. And so we will only be coming to you all every quarter now. Excellent, so we're back. Couple things. I talked earlier about our operational site visit, and Mr. Hartley mentioned about our history, and we talked about how unique we are as a community health center. So I wanted to share some information with you about health centers. So health centers, and we're not a hospital, we're not a free clinic, we're a community health center, okay? And health centers perform better on ambulatory care quality measures compared to private physicians. Did anyone know that? A couple people? So let me say that again. Health centers perform better on ambulatory care quality measures compared to private physicians. And we're narrowing health disparities, and we save the healthcare system, I'm going to leave that blank, a lot of money annually. Anyone know how much health centers save the healthcare system in America? Anybody want to guess? Are we all asleep? We need some more coffee? Anyway, did anybody play the lotto recently? I see a couple hands. I played the lotto. I didn't win it. Anyone play the lotto? How much was it? 1.6 billion? Health centers save the American healthcare system $24 billion annually. That's huge. It's amazing. A couple other things about health centers. There are 4 essential components for a community health center. One is that we're located in areas of high need, so areas where physicians need to be. Number 2, we provide a comprehensive array of services, so primary care, dental, pediatrics, behavioral health. Number 3, as a health center, we must be open to everyone, and that's everyone regardless of their ability to pay. And number 4, as Mr. Hartley mentioned earlier, is that as a health center, we must have a patient majority governing board. Can anyone guess, this is a map of the US here, anyone guess how many community health centers there are out there? Throw out numbers. 1,400? Oh, you know. There are 1,400 community health centers out there. We're one of them, and we're one of the best. There are 11,000 health service locations. CHI has 49. When you look at our service sites, when you look at our schools, CHI actually has 49 health center locations. Health centers reach 1 in 3 people in poverty, 1 in 5 uninsured people, and 1 in 6 Medicaid beneficiaries across the US. And in 2018, community health centers will serve over 28 million patients. That's huge. We're the largest healthcare infrastructure system in the nation. Among those 28 million patients, 13 million of those patients are people in poverty, 8.4 million children, 1.4 million homeless, 1 million agricultural workers, and 350,000 veterans. So if you've ever listened to Mr. Hartley talk about CHI, one of the things that he always mentions is that CHI is in a growth mode. So what I wanted to share with each of you today was just to let you know that the news that we're hearing across community health center world is that there's going to be more funding, and CHI is very good at receiving funding. So in 2018, these are the new funding opportunities that have been identified. So there will be $350 million available for substance use disorder and mental health services, $125 million for quality improvement, $60 million for capital assistance, $25 million for advancing precision medicine, and $10 million for behavioral health workforce education and training. So last but not least, I do want to mention a couple things about voting. Hopefully everyone saw the poster up front that is encouraging you to vote. If you don't know already, early voting has started. You can get out and vote now to avoid the lines later. We have graciously allowed all of our staff to go out and vote, and you get an hour to do that, but you have to coordinate it with your supervisor and get your supervisor's approval. So please take time to vote. It is very important. Separate from that, I do want to let you know that regarding advocacy, the President has signed a spending package approving $1.6 billion for community health centers. And so when I've come up here before, I've always come to you to ask you to reach out to our members of Congress to ask them to fund community health centers. Well, we've got funding for this year, but we'll be back at it again. So right now we're good. However, I would like for those of you who are into advocacy and those of you who aren't, if you have questions, come see me. But I do want to encourage you to reach out to our elected officials to thank them. And when I say thank them, it's, you know, this isn't an essay. You can call their office or you can send them a Facebook message. You can put something out on Twitter and just include them as part of the message, but just to thank them for supporting community health centers. And last but not least, I do want to let everybody know that Cultural Awareness Day is one of my favorite days at CHI. It's probably the most favorite, with the exception of when we hear that we get new access point dollars or new communities that we serve. And so for those of you who haven't been to Cultural Awareness Day before, it's a lot of fun. I encourage you all to enjoy the day, get out and meet someone that you don't know. It's a great opportunity to network with folks and socialize. And so I hope that you have a lot of fun this afternoon, and thank you very much.
Good morning. Blake is shaking in his shoes. Relax. So, you know, in this country, right, somebody has done some research on every single topic you can think of. Think about it, somebody's done research on it. Well, one of the things people have done research on is on the attention span of humans and animals and fish and whatever. Somebody's done research on that. And they're finding that the average attention span of the typical or average human adult is about 20 minutes. 20 minutes. So think about it. We have you here for about 2 hours, and we have to figure out how we keep your attention, knowing that the average attention span is just 20 minutes. How do we do that? So over the years, we try different things. We have different speakers coming in, different topics, different styles, and all of that hopefully keeps the attention of most of us, right? So one of the things Blake and I have always done is use humor to kind of keep your attention, and we do that deliberately, and some of you enjoy that, some of you don't. And over the last few months, we've noticed that it's become quite bloody, and so we came up with a truce. And yes, he's right. We've always had a truce, and I have to keep reminding him that we have a truce in place. And I have to admit that he's done quite well with that. I appreciate that. And being the gentleman that I am, and being a Christian, I will continue to take the high road, okay? Now, over the next few minutes, I'm going to share a number of topics, and I intend to make sure that I inject some humor in it as much as I can. That is, if they can get my slides up. But I cannot promise that any names or faces that show up here, you know, if they bear a good resemblance to some of you here, you cannot hold me responsible for that, okay? All right, so I'm going to talk about this morning, I'm going to give some updates on our clinical operations, some changes we're making in response to feedback from you, and then I'm going to talk about what I like to call the state of our union, okay, and productivity and quality, the core business of CHI, and how are we doing with those things. And then I'm going to end up with some things we need to know about the Joint Commission survey that's coming up. You know, it's coming up middle of next year, and there's a ton of information we need to share with you, but for today, we'll just share about 5 or 6 things for the time that I have. But as always, we'll begin with some wins. Now, Blake and Colonel Hartley certainly stole my thunder, and so I don't, you know, they limit how much I can say. But if you can see the slide, it's kind of difficult from where you're sitting, but just to make the point that in CHI, okay, we get killed with lots of audits and inspections and people coming to look over our shoulders, and this slide just gives you an idea of the different visits we get different months for this year. And we count about almost 50 of them, not all of them on these slides, of people coming constantly to check in on us. And so you know, these are some of the things we do as leadership. You know, Jeremy doesn't sit in his office smoking cigars, and I can tell you that Ken isn't sitting in his office drinking, shutting over the pop, right? They have to spend a lot of time crossing the T's and dotting the I's with these kinds of audits and inspections, and it takes a lot of our time. But we're very excited to say that we have done exceptionally well with many of these visits, and I'm going to go through them. One after the next, we have excelled, and I think Blake and the Colonel have talked about them, so I'm going to skip the detailed content. But one of the ones I was very excited about was certainly the ACGME institutional site visit, during which we had some grueling questions. They spent time with the THC faculty and the residents, and even though we don't have the results yet, we are very confident that we're going to excel in this one as well. And so we like to give the THC group, the leadership, Philippe, Redwood, and co., and the residents a big round of applause for such great work. Thank you so much. Okay, what happened to my slides again? Okay, good. And I'm going to spend the next few minutes talking about some recognitions that we've had, okay? Colonel Hartley mentioned the UDS Quality Award. That was significant, almost $400,000, just based on the great work you've all done as care team members. We received more than $100,000 in HEDIS incentives from managed care plans, again, from the great work of the Ludises and Allisons and co. Excellent, just excellent. We just got a good check of about $50,000 for doing great work with our Medicaid patients that are part of our accountable care organization. And so we really say thank you to Hervey and Eliana and the care coordinators for this great work. Thank you so much. And then we just got notified a few weeks ago that CHI is being recognized for great work improving cholesterol management in our patients. And so I believe a number of the residents, Dr. Nolmeyer, Dr. Taylor, Dr. Philippe and co, great work and really making CHI shine with this particular program. And we just got notified that we will most likely over the next month or so be recognized nationally for achieving national blood pressure targets for hypertensive patients in the Target BP program. So, you know, the quality recognitions are just significant, and they go on and on and on. I'm going to spend the next few minutes with a few updates very quickly, because I want to spend some time on the state of our union, I like to call it. We have a new UCC provider starting very soon. Again, we know we've been burning out the Philippes and the Nunezes and the Lopezes and Brandes, trying to cover as much as they have. We're very excited about that. We have a new provider for West Kendall, and so West Kendall, you're going to get some relief, okay? We just had a new CNM who just started, and a new OBGYN provider for Marathon. We were so blessed and privileged to find her. We have new core faculty for our psychiatry and family medicine programs, very exciting. We also have new program coordinators and assistants for a Teaching Health Center program. There's been a big need there, and we responded to that fairly quickly. But we're very excited to tell you that we've started recruiting again for a new set of family practice and psych residents. And guess what? When we started the program, we literally had to go begging to find residents. Nobody knew about us. We jumped on anybody who could breathe and had a pulse. Do you want to know how many people have applied to our program as of when I was told last week? Anybody want to take a shot? Now, this is where you say 10 or 20 just to allow me to say higher, okay? Come on, guys. You know, Carlina, come on. You just say 20, then I can come back and say, no, 700. Make us look better. 700. I have no idea how Dr. Philippe and Redwood and Moises and Garcia are going to figure out how they're going to select them, but it is brutal. And we thank all of you helping us with the interviews, but this is pretty cool. And it just shows how far we've come with the Teaching Health Center program. We're very, very proud of this. Our residents are rotating at Jackson South. Do you have any idea what that means to us? And I can tell you story upon story. Dr. Dunlop here somewhere, Christine. It's so exciting that one of the patients we'd seen got admitted. She was the attending for the patient in the hospital, and we were able to exchange information back and forth to help this patient out. Just incredible stuff, and the stories keep going on, and Jackson South is telling us how pleased they are with our residents. So we're really, really very excited, and we congratulate the leadership and the residents for pulling this off. So we want to make sure all of you are aware of that, and with that, a number of us have also acquired privileges at Jackson, meaning that we have access to Jackson records, so this is very good for CHI. We have a whole set of programs in place right now, and the programs include the blood pressure machine loaner program. I mentioned this here in large part because a lot of you have high blood pressure, uncontrolled, and we want you to know that we can make this available to you. You just let one of our care coordinators, Karine, Eliana, and Sharon and co know, and they can hook you up with that. You know, we can loan you a machine, take it home, check your blood pressures, so we can monitor that and help to improve your blood pressure. It's working quite well, and we want to make sure that we extend that to all staff who would fit the criteria. We also have started rolling out a retinal camera right now in the Teaching Health Center, where we get to screen diabetics for diabetic eye pathology. And we hope over the next few months to roll it out to as many sites as we can. And that includes those of you who are diabetic or our staff. This will become available to you as well. But it really helps save patients' eyes. We have a new needle exchange program we're in the process of developing. I want to give a shout out to Tony Lala Torres. Are you here somewhere? There she is. Tony has kept bringing to CHI so many creative programs. This is one of them through our connections with U of M. We're going through a contracting process where patients can come exchange needles with us. It's been long overdue for CHI, and that connection is going to make it possible for us to do that. We're very excited that we can make this available to the communities we serve, and you'll hear some more about that. I just want to remind us that, again, because there's so many of us, we have to try to figure out different ways to communicate. You've always told us that we've had challenges in getting information to you, and so we try to respond in different ways, right? And one of them is having created a site educational binder. I want to make sure all of you are aware of it. What do I mean by that? At each of our sites, and I have to say that we probably have to have multiple ones for Doris Eisen and MLK, we have these binders that are placed there in which we submit and file some highlights of stuff that we want folks to be aware of. And what we're asking our site managers, site leadership, what we're asking of you is to have staff read those and initial the back of those sheets as another way to get information to you. And so we're asking all of you at your sites, ask about where the binder is. It won't take you a minute to glance through what is on there and just initial the back. You don't have to create a note sheet to sign anything, just do that. And so your leadership can know that you actually have read the content. Over the next few months, we'll be sending a lot of content in there, and we send this once a month, so you're not overwhelmed. But we intend to do that with a lot of our Joint Commission updates, especially, and some of the updates, some of the updates operationally, so we ask you to please do read those. We also send out a CURT team newsletter, and it has very pertinent information. We do that through eBlast, and it also ends up in the educational binder. For the providers, the residents, please remember that our monthly conference calls now are mandatory now. We are tracking attendance as always, and we expect everybody to call in on time, usually 8 to 8:30 once a month on a Thursday morning. So please look out for that, ask about that. And this is an official announcement that effective as of this month, it is a required participation, okay? I want to end up the updates with influenza, okay? We are in the influenza season, and it's very important for us that we promote the influenza vaccine for our patients. For us to be successful, though, we know that we have to get the shot when we can get the shot. And we're concerned that a number of you aren't getting the shot. The flu shot saves lives, folks. It really saves lives, just one shot. There's so much myth out there. It's going to make me sick. It's going to make me the flu. The flu shot cannot give you the flu. And that has been studied over and over again. It is not technically possible, okay? And so we encourage you to do that. And hopefully that would then encourage you to get it to our patients. It's important to know, and let me ask the question, how many of us have not taken the flu shot because of egg allergies? How many of us? So the studies clearly indicate that an egg allergy is not a reason to not get the flu shot. If I can have the slides back again. You can receive the flu shot if you have egg allergies, okay? If you have hives, it's okay. Even if you have anaphylaxis, which is the deadliest reaction to egg when you get the flu shot, we are expected or required, or you can get the flu shot in a medical setting where, if it happens, we can give you an EpiPen shot and that's okay. That's how important the flu shot is, okay? So just please remember that and know that when you get the shot, you're not just saving yourselves, but your families and your friends. In addition to that, make sure we hand washing, be careful at the time clock, disinfect as much as you can, and keep yourself safe, okay? All right. So how are we doing with productivity and quality? Our core business, right? CHI's core business is access for patients who get in and receive quality care. How are we doing? So I'm going to spend the next few minutes just giving us an update on how we're doing. So this next slide, very difficult to read, but I use color here so that even from the distance you'll see the yellow bars are last year's encounters for doctors, nurse practitioners, and PAs. And the green bars are for 2018. These are the data we report to the feds on for this category of people. And for every single month this year, in spite of some of the staffing shortages and the limitations we've had, we have exceeded last year's numbers by about 1,500 to 3,000 every single month. And so we want to really applaud you for this great work, and I think this deserves a pause and a round of applause for pulling this off in spite of all the stress. So we thank you for that. But if you work with Mr. Hartley, it's never enough, right? And he's right. Jeremy reminds us that if we're going to keep afloat and be able to survive in spite of all the competition going out there, we need to be seeing for this category of people at least 18,000 encounters every month. I think we can do this if all of us work together as a team, as Blake talked about. Teamwork can make a difference, and so we're going to keep pushing and pushing until we get there consistently. Okay, so we're very confident we can do that. But if there were 4 or 5 things we could all do, if we walk away from here to help us achieve those, what would those be? I'm going to share that in a minute. For now, let's figure out which centers are doing the best. You know, there's always competition. I always like to compare the sites to each other, and thank you, Colonel Hartley, for letting the sites stand up. But which site do we think did the best in terms of encounters per provider? Which site did the best? Anybody know? All right, it'll be very difficult to see from the distance, but if you can see from where you're sitting, Everglades was top, and so the Everglades team, congratulations. Essentially, the more green, again, from where you're sitting, the better they did. And from month to month, green meant that site met their goals or exceeded the goals from month to month to month. We also want to give a shout out to the next 2 sites, West Perrine and South Dade. Excellent, excellent work. And we should give a fist bump to West Kendall and Doris Eisen for also representing. You know, I think we almost there, not as many greens as the others, but we want to recognize your work, and we thank you for that. Now, what you're going to see on this slide is on the bottom, we have Tavernier, actually. And I wanted to give a shout out to the Tavernier group because they actually have started increasing quite significantly. And so I apologize that you can't see that bottom, but that's pretty impressive. And so we wanted to give them recognition for the improvement. So again, Everglades, once again, did great here. In the next few months, as we end the year, what can we do different? I think the biggest thing is for all of us to ensure that the patient experience is excellent. For the front desk and nursing staff to make sure that the first patient is seen, for every practitioner on time, for the providers to start work on time and not come in late because you feel that patients are not ready on time. But if all of us ensure that every provider's schedule is filled every single day and not have what we call a feast and famine, we could really go a long way, okay? And so I think we can easily do this. What about quality? This is an impossible read, and so I'm just going to let you know. We started off the year, and these are a number of our UDS clinical indicators in our strategic plan. And green meant we met the goal with a thumbs up, and red meant we did not meet the goal, and we're way down. And so what you'll see here, and just look at the colors, is that we had 5 thumbs up. That means we met the goals for 5 of them in January. By April, it had increased to 6 of them. By, I believe, the next Monday is June, we had met up to 7 of them. And as of August, we actually have met 8 of them, which was what we had planned to do from the beginning of the year. That is pretty outstanding. The question is, which ones changed? And it included improvement in blood pressure control. Again, it's difficult to see, but that's the first arrow there. The next one was improvements we saw in asthma management, and the next one was in a dental sealant rate. So we've come a long way, and we hope that over the next few months, we can do even better on a number of indicators. By the sites, again, comparing them, difficult to see, but as you expect, what site do you think did the best again? Naranja. I mean, we've all kind of give up now on Naranja keeps excelling, and so we want to give Naranja a shout out again for exceeding goals. If we should do anything different, anything different to end the year, improve our diabetes management, colorectal cancer screening, and cervical cancer screening. Now, we do realize that a number of you, not me, are older than 50. I'm 25, and so please remember that you need your colorectal cancer screening, which certainly would help increase our rates anyway, but we want to promote that for our patients, and also cervical cancer screening. Many of you, qualify for this, should have this, and please do that and push that in our patients. In fact, one of the staff did commit to doing that, and we want to thank this person, again, this Tony B, for being a trailblazer. So Tony B, if you're out there, Tony B, thank you so much for, deciding to do your pap smear soon enough, and we hope everybody will follow suit. Okay, so I'm going to end up with some Joint Commission must-knows, and I'm going to just do that at a high level. We know there are tons of things we want to tell you about the Joint Commission, but at this level, just a few things that must not become findings. We tell you these things, really, they are good things for the patient, for the next patient, but they are findings we don't want to have, right, when the inspectors show up. What are some of those? please work hard to eliminate all expired supplies. You know, first aid kits in vehicles, you know, you probably can't see that from here, but this says expired in April 1921. I'm just kidding. But you know, when you do that, you make somebody called Kenny G. Hopefully you know who Kenny G is, right? It's just very frustrating. And this is not just in our vans, where they found a lot of those at last visit, but in our exam rooms, in our medication cabinets, all of those places. Please make sure we're not keeping keys to medication cabinets, for example, at the nurse's station, as this shows you in MLK. It's one of those that show up quite a bit. You know, you lock some place up and you keep the key in a cabinet that is accessible to everyone. It should not be, and it's not a finding that we want to have, okay? Remember HIPAA, okay? And be mindful of prying eyes when you walk away from live stations. We see that quite a lot. A nurse, a provider on their laptop, computer, and they walk away. The surveyors pick up on that very fast. And so, Jared, please make sure when you walk away from your station, those prying eyes can cost you quite a bit. Okay. It's also important to remove and secure all documents, especially at the front desk at the end of the day. That gets found quite a lot. At the end of the day, the patient files, things in fax machines or printers, all of those things must be locked away. It is not okay to say that this housekeeping staff is staff so they can have access to patient records. Not exactly. Patient records must be locked away at the end of the day, and it's especially at the front desk where findings tend to come up quite a bit. A few more things. If a patient passes out in CHI, they have a code, okay? But in their record, they say that we should not resuscitate them. Will we honor that? Will we let the patient pass? Please remember, that the answer is no. We do not honor do not resuscitate orders, and that comes up quite a bit, and we let patients know in many different ways, okay? It's also very important that we label all containers when we move reagents from one to the next, and that happens so many places. I thought I'd mention that. It's a low-hanging fruit, and as this person says here, Dr. Walton says, and I can't even read what is up there, but I think she makes a good point. Please remember that housekeeping, when you dispense things into smaller containers, you got to label them with expiration, the hazard stick, and those things. You don't want somebody walking away with the wrong agent. It includes also labeling specimens in front of a patient. For those of you who draw labs, that comes up quite a bit as well. Don't let the patient walk away before you label the specimens. A couple more things. Maybe this is the last one on John Commission I think I want to mention. The bathroom faucet. Very frequently, surveyors will look out, okay, for us to turn off the faucet with the tissue, not with our fingers. And I have to tell you, we see that a lot. And I've talked to many of you in the restroom when you walk away and use your fingers to turn off the faucet. So I'm going to use a couple of visuals that are quite gross, okay? But I have to do that because that is not okay. And please just remember that faucet is toxic. What do I mean by that? Well, let's take a look at these pictures, okay? Think about it. You know, these folks are done with number 2 and number 1, and they walk to the faucet and they touch it. You know, can you imagine how toxic that faucet is now? So hopefully, when you remember this picture, you remember that you do not turn the faucet off with your fingers. You can, after you've done with number 1 or number 2, turn it off, but you're going to use soap. And when you're done, walk to the tissue, wipe your hands, and use that to turn the faucet off, okay? Please don't forget that. Surveyors look for that all the time. It gets cited, and it doesn't have to be. But for the sake of yourselves and your family, don't forget that. And so I want to say thank you to a couple of people, you know, Monique, Mizell, and Juan Ruiz for allowing me to take the pictures. You know, I don't know they're here, but anyway, thank you so much. Just remember that as Mr. Hadley said, CHI is a medical home for medical and behavioral health, okay? And what it means for us is that every patient can reach a clinician 24/7. It is shocking to find that some of you don't know that we're on call 24/7, okay? It's important to know that patients can request appointments and request medication refills and request lab results 24/7. We don't tell a patient who calls us at 2 a.m. for the lab results, call me back. For those on call, we tease them. And no, the patient has a right to actually find out what the lab results are 24/7 as a way to keep them out of the hospital, okay? And so when you get asked by a surveyor, can the patient request a refill after hours? Yes, they can. You may not be aware of it. We also assess patients for their language barriers. What's their preferred language? is required as a medical home and for HESA. We also assess our patients' communication preferences. Do they learn best through listening, through reading, through videos, okay? And we assess patients for their health literacy. And I want to just throw these things out there. It might, few of you might remember it, but we do not want those things to become findings. So, what have I talked about? For the next few months, let's try to maximize provider schedules, okay? There are a number of sites where the productivity is so low, we need to work on that. And there are a number of places where we are beyond capacity and we're burning people out. We're going to try to peel back on that as well. But really focus on maximizing everybody's schedule is the way to go, and we need everybody's help with that. We want to work on our cancer screenings and diabetes management for the next few months, especially. And let's be receptive and be ready for all the information we'll be sending you, getting ready for the Joint Commission survey coming up. And we're going to be hitting you with tons of information from different angles. I like to always end my presentation with this slide, and I use the same slide every time. Let's remind ourselves that it is really a privilege to work in healthcare. Let me just say that again. It is a privilege. Patients come to us because they don't have nothing better to do. They come here because they need us. I had the privilege of covering UCC yesterday with Regula and Ashley, and we had a patient who came in with a sugar that was so high the machine could not read it. And the patient was very sick. And we could have sent the patient to the hospital and cost this poor uninsured patient $12,000 to $20,000. But we worked together with the patient, as the physicians and your care teams do, to bring his sugar down. By the time he left, his sugar was around the 300s. He was stable. The guy was so pleased, and he kept saying, I am so grateful for CHI. I am so grateful for CHI. It was almost a goosebumps kind of moment for us. And you guys do this every day. We'd like to remind you that not everybody gets the privilege of making a difference in people's lives. And so we thank you for wanting to do that and to stay in the cause in spite of the stresses. But that privilege comes with a responsibility, okay, to improve health and to save lives. And to improve health and save lives, we need to see as many people as possible, and that is what we call productivity. And we need to ensure that we close care gaps, what we call quality. So when we say productivity and quality, it's because those are our core business. And finally, we need to make sure that we are complying to all the rules and regulations like Joint Commission and OSHA and CDC as we throw at you, okay? And to realize that we cannot stay afloat if we lose our compliance or we lose our licenses and our certifications. So I want to end by saying thank you again. We thank you for what you do. We thank you for being a part of the family. I am privileged to be your CMO and to work with you. And we hope that for the next few months, or when we meet again next time, we will have even more exciting things to share with you. And so thank you so much for your attention. And now we have our esteemed VP for Nursing, I think is next.
So how many of us knew that he was not going to play fair? Yeah. Okay. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and get started and let IT catch up. So again, it's that time of the year where the Helen B. Bentley Nursing Scholarship is open for all to apply, all of those nursing students that are interested in applying. The Colonel mentioned earlier about Helen B. Bentley. She was a nurse, and she was the administrator of the Helen B. Bentley Health Center in Coconut Grove. So the CHI Foundation is awarding 3 nursing scholarships in the name of Ms. Helen B. Bentley. Each scholarship will be in the amount of $1,000. Applications are being accepted now through November 1st. And the application can be found at www.chiSouthFL.org/foundation. The awards will be made at the December 2018 meeting of the CHI Foundation Board. So I just want to touch on flu season. Flu season is upon us, and our flu vaccine campaign is currently underway. Just want to share a few statistics with you. Statistics show that thousands of related deaths occur annually. Approximately 200,000 people are hospitalized annually. And 90% of the deaths that are flu-related are people 65 and older. So the best prevention and protection against the flu is the flu vaccine. So CHI is currently offering the flu shot to all of our employees, volunteers, board members at no cost. So we really want to push this because it is imperative that we remain healthy if we're going to take care of our clients. So just another note, according to the CDC, the first and most important step in preventing the flu is to get the flu vaccine each year. So as healthcare professionals, again, I say we must and we should hold each other accountable by promoting this flu vaccine campaign. So please, please, today, when you're at CHI celebrating, take a moment to go over to the family medicine unit around 2 o'clock, and we will have Ms. Philippe, our Director of Infection Control and Education, will be there ready to receive you to give you that flu vaccine. Okay. So Dr. Mofa kind of took some of my discussion points this morning, but infection control and hand hygiene. So that's another area where compliance is needed, and that's hand hygiene. Hand hygiene is one of Joint Commission's national patient safety goals. And as an agency, we are required to use the hand cleaning guidelines from the CDC. We must set goals, and then we must use these goals to improve our hand cleaning. We currently have a hand hygiene patrol team that, again, is led by Ms. Philippe. And we're asking each of you to please, please be cooperative when these team members approach you as they attempt to ensure that we remain compliant as an agency. You'll hear more about that. But I just really ask that you're receptive to their comments, feedback, and helping to keep us compliant in this area. So also, in an attempt to promote this campaign and ensure compliance, you will notice signs that we will be placing around the agency in strategic areas, especially the bathrooms. Just a reminder that you need to wash your hand and follow the protocol as Dr. Mofa showed to you a few minutes ago. Okay. Staffing. I just would like to give you some updates on some recent staffing changes that will be coming. So we continue to press forward to deliver quality health care to our patients. Our care teams work very, very hard to meet these needs of our patients. And for this, I thank each and every one of you. I know it's difficult, some days are worse than others, but you press forward so that we can serve our patients. And we really do appreciate you. We hear your comments, we're getting your feedback. So recently our administrative team met to assess the ratio of clinical support per provider in several of our units. And a decision was made to increase support staff to various units. So just to let you know that interviews were recently held, recommendations being made, and the support staff are currently on the onboarding phase. So we do hear you. We know it is a challenge, and just to let you know that we are moving in the direction of bringing help, support to the teams. So productivity and wait time, though, continue to be a focus area for the agency. It is imperative that we continue to collaborate and demonstrate productive, cohesive teamwork. What saddens me the most is when I get feedback where we're not working together. We can get so much more done if we work collaboratively to take care of our patients. So just remember, it's one team, one mission, and if we work together, we can get so much more done, okay? So again, I speak on behalf of the executive team when I say to you, we appreciate all that you do on a daily basis in taking care of our patients, okay? Thank you.
Good morning, CHI family. How are we doing this morning? Believe it or not, next Thursday is actually the 1st of November, so I want to spend a little bit of time with you this morning talking about wellness, your mental health, and why it matters as we conclude the last 2 months of 2018. So I want to talk a little bit about listening. If you're listening to your body when it whispers, you won't have to listen to it scream. So you don't want to kind of end up like this guy here screaming. Attitude is everything. Research has revealed that the attitude you have at the beginning of a task determines the outcome of that task more than any other single factor. So Dr. Mofa talked about productivity. So just let's take this scenario. If you wake up and you're not motivated to come to work, the chances are you're not going to have a productive day. Your attitude is more important than any other possible factor, both external and internal. And our consumers, our patients, I see it. Okay? Your personal demeanor, your attitude, it demonstrates everything. Okay? They can see if you're not having a bad day. So we want to ensure that your attitude is up to par and appropriate. What is wellness? Jennifer Louden, the author, says, we finally learn that self-care begins and ends with ourselves, and we no longer demand happiness from others. What is possible? We have the potential to slowly destroy ourselves, but we also have the potential to create mercurious, beneficial results. So Dr. Mofa just talked about an individual whose blood sugar was high. So he left there with a positive smile on his face. So those results were definitely beneficial. Another quote I want to share, Davis, integration of the mind, body, and spirit encompasses many components of the human functioning. So I don't want you to answer on this next slide, but I do want you to think about it. Who feels more stress, men or women? So if we think men, raise your hand. Okay, it looks like the women are winning on this one. So just something to think about. Next, I want to cover what we call the wellness wheel. Okay, the wellness wheel actually consists of 7 components. Starting off with nutrition, that needs to be included in your daily activity. Spiritual, relationships, social support, career satisfaction, interpersonal communication, and last but not least, exercise. So if you can include those 7 elements in your daily activity in your schedule, you will master stress. Awareness, recognizing your current state to set specific goals. So I want to share this acronym with you. SMART, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. So once again, the SMART, and recognizing your current state and set specific goals. The value of self-awareness. Not going to read, but I do want to cover meta mood. Refers to you becoming aware of your emotions, and metacognition refers to you becoming aware of your thought process. Relaxation. Blake talked about the $1.6 million, so we can dream about that relaxation in our mind until it actually strikes reality, right? So meditation, becoming aware of your body, your psychological reactions, so you may continuously reduce your level of arousal, okay? Because we don't want to hyperventilate. 3 C's of stress: control, commitment, and challenge. Cultivating awareness. Be aware of your breathing. Without the ability to breathe appropriately, it will be difficult for you to master stress. So as we approach the holiday season, the last 2 months of the year, want to keep in mind your mental, your physical, and also your wellness. And in closing, I want to thank you for all the hard work that you're doing. I hope you guys don't eat too much today, not only today, but as we approach the holiday season, remember to keep the exercise portion of the wellness element in mind. Thank you and have a blessed day.
Good morning, everyone. Great to see you all. Excited about our Cultural Awareness Day. It's amazing all the different cultures we have here at CHI. I feel blessed to be part of this team and all the cultures coming together for one good mission. Today, we're going to talk about customer service and making a first impression. I want to tell you all how my day started this morning. I dropped my son off at school. I got a few blocks away, and I saw a little boy, like here's the end of his driveway, and he's standing right there just feet from the street. He must have been 2 years old by himself, ready to walk out in the street. What is my first impression? Oh Lord, this child's gonna die. I stop my car in the middle of the street, I get out, I walk over, I pick up that little boy, and there's no adults around except for this man that's a few feet away. I say, is this your child? He says, no. So there's no adult here. He says to me, you're driving, let me take him. I'll take care of him. I look at this man, and my first impression is, this is not your child. You could be a sex offender. I don't know. I'm not leaving this child with you. So I stand there, and by then another mother pulls over in her car. Whose child is this? It's not our child. We don't know. And the three of us are standing there waiting, and probably 2 minutes later, the mother in that house runs out crying, oh my God, thank you. But my first impression of those people made me act the way I did. Your first impression of patients make you act a certain way. The first impression that patients have of you make them act a certain way. So it's critical to think about first impressions. Let's look at our first video to give you an example.
Hey, thanks for watching the kids on such short notice. Come on in.
Hey, I know we said 10, but do you think you could stay till 11?
Probably. Let me just call my parole officer.
This is your captain. Oops, never flown one of these. Don't push that, you idiot. That jettisons the fuel. Don't ever call me an idiot. You want to go? You want to do this right here?
How's it going, Coach? Good. I want you to meet your new star running back.
Son, our future is in your hands.
So let's get you checked out here. You say it's the leg here, and oh dear, yeah, that's the lump. Wow, that's cancer. That's gross. What's your schedule look like? We're probably gonna need to amputate today. Do you have a will?
That's my cell phone. I'm here for a flu shot.
Wow, close call. You are lucky to be alive. Let's get that flu shot taken care of. Okay.
Yeah, we're trying out a new small group. I'll talk to you later.
Kill them all as soon as they come in.
He's dead. Let's get rid of him. Oh, hey guys, come on in. A little bit of a fly problem.
Hey, you guys, welcome to our small group. Come on in.
So you get the idea, right? First impressions are critical, and they happen in just a second. If we could just put the slides back up there for me, you guys. What you think about a person takes seconds. 7 seconds. In 7 seconds, people create an impression of what they think about you. Just 7 seconds. So you have to do everything you can to make a good first impression. You have to look the part. Make sure that when you come to work, your uniform is pressed, it's not wrinkled, there's not spots on it. Make sure that your shirt is white if it's a white shirt. You want to look good. You have to look the part for people because they're making snap judgments about you. Make sure you smile. Try and smile as much as you can. Even if you wake up and you're not feeling good and something bad is going on at home, we all have those days, but you still have to show up and smile. It's going to help change your attitude, and it's going to help change the attitude of the person that you're talking to. Make sure you look someone in the eye. People don't trust you if you don't look them in the eye. That's critical. And we're talking about when people walk into our health centers, we want them to feel welcome. They're making a judgment the minute they walk in the door. At some of our smaller centers, you can say, welcome to CHI where patient care comes first. Ideally, I'd like the person at the front desk to say that, but you know what, if you're a nurse and you're out there getting someone, you can say that too. The moment you see someone walk into our health center, you should be greeting them. Remember, AID it. We all know AID it. That's critical to let someone know what's going to happen. People are coming to our health centers. It's not the best day of their life. Usually they're sick, they're not feeling good, they're worried. A lot of people are scared to go to the doctor. You have to reassure them and make sure that we're using a formal address. Don't say, hey, Tiffany. Say, Miss Helberg, it's time for you to come back to see the doctor. And it's also important when you're talking about first impressions to make sure that your workstation is tidy and clean. If I walk up to the front desk and there's papers all over the place and a gum wrapper here, it doesn't give me a good first impression. It makes me think that you're disorganized and a mess. We don't want that to be the case. Next slide. Okay, what else? No cell phones. No cell phones. You're helping a patient. You can't be checking Facebook or checking your email or texting your friend. No cell phones at the front desk. No cell phones while you're in with a patient. It's rude. Don't chew gum. These things seem like common sense, but we still yet see them every day at CHI and out when you're out going to a business. You see people trying to help you in customer service chewing gum. That's a bad idea. And the third one stands for talking amongst ourselves. If there's a patient there and they're waiting for you to address them, you shouldn't be talking amongst yourselves. Your first priority is that patient. We also want to be careful of the conversations that we have in front of others. Make sure that we're cordial amongst ourselves. As Monica said, we have to work together. And if we're not cordial to each other, that is reflective in the patients. Next slide. Okay, cross sales. We've been talking for a while now about cross sales. Does anyone know what I mean by cross sales? Nobody? I have a prize if somebody can give me an example of cross sales. Who does cross sales? We all do cross sales. Stand up, give me an example. Not quite close. Come on, I know you guys know about cross sales. What's cross sales? Go ahead, give me an example. Can you walk up to the microphone? Give me an example of cross sales. I'm giving you hints. They're done at the front desk. They're done when the PCT or the nurse is checking in the person. They are done when the doctor is seeing the patient. What's your idea of a cross sale?
Okay, if I remember correctly, but like if I'm in school base, if somebody asks me a question, like I often get calls that ask me, do you guys have vision or dental? Even though I'm school based, I can refer them to them. I give them the number and say, hey, this is the number. We do appointments, and I just give suggestions of other departments if needed.
Exactly. Cross sales, you get a prize. Come get your prize. So it's so easy, you guys. Cross sales should be done by all of us. And if we look at the next slide, you'll see that we have a menu of services. All of our front desks should have this menu of services. We should have them near the exam rooms. You guys should be handing them out to patients. They list all of our services in all of our health centers, and it's a simple suggestion. You're going to hand this out, and you're going to say, I'm so happy your child's here for his pediatric appointment. Did you know we also have vision services? Did you know we also have this? You need to suggest 3 things and make that appointment, secure it right then and there. Next. So here we go. Here's the scripts that's in your customer service manual. Thank you for making your appointment today if they're on the phone. We have multiple services here to make it convenient for you. Can I schedule you an appointment for behavioral health, for OBGYN, for dental today? When's the last time you saw your dentist? Then let's say you're a nurse. If you're prescribed any medications today, we can send your prescriptions to our CHI pharmacy for your convenience. We have free delivery to your home, or you can pick it up at any of our 4 pharmacies. You guys know this information, it's in your head, and it's so easy. People are trusting you, they're giving you their lives. Make the suggestion for them to have comprehensive health care. Why is this important? A happy customer tells a friend, and an unhappy customer is going to tell the entire world. When somebody feels they're treated badly, they're going to tell 10 different people. When they feel they're treated well, unfortunately, they tell only a few. So you really have to maximize the time that you have with your patients. Make sure you're treating them warmly. Make sure you're treating them like family, like you would want your mother, your father, your brother to be treated, because they're making snap judgments about you, and those judgments lead to whether or not they'll come back. Those judgments are going to lead to whether or not they're going to tell the world that CHI is a great place or a bad place. We want them to continue to tell people that this is a world-class team here. Okay, I'd also like to talk to you guys about Give Miami Day. CHI is participating in Give Miami Day. It's on November 15th, and it's a 24-hour period when people can go online and donate to CHI. This is a great opportunity for us to get some new donors as well as ignite our own donor base, and you are all CHI ambassadors. So today, we are going to use our cell phones. I'm going to ask all of you to take out your cell phone, wave it at me. Come on, take out your cell phone. I know you all have them. Okay, I want you to either pick one right now. Go on Facebook or go on your CHI email. If you're on Facebook, you're going to see this same post there. I want you to forward it to all of your friends. If you're in your email, you're going to see an email that says, "This day can be life-changing. This day can be life-changing." It has all the same information as well as videos. So right now, we're all going to take time to forward these. Forward these to friends, forward these to business partnerships, forward these to your neighbors. Let's take 3 minutes to do that. The email says this day can be life-changing. It's in your CHI email, or you're going on Facebook and you're finding this and you're sharing it. So we're going to be sending out this stuff periodically leading up to November 15th. And I'm going to ask you all as CHI ambassadors to help spread the word, encourage people to participate. There are 700 charities throughout Miami-Dade who are participating, who all want this money, and there's going to be a lot of media buzz and a lot of excitement leading up to November 15th. Let's make sure that CHI benefits from some of that excitement. You guys need to go out there and make some noise yourself. Do your part, continue to share this, and I hope that we see a big win for CHI. Our goal is to raise $20,000 on that day, and I hope we exceed it. Thank you all for participating.
Good morning, CHI Care Team. I apologize for my voice. I'm super sick. I wanted to take this opportunity and say that I feel extremely privileged to be a part of this team and to be leading the human resources team. I started in June, and it's been 4 months. This is my second general care team meeting. So I wanted to get started and talk to you really briefly about our anniversary pins. Every department, any employee that is going to be having an anniversary this year, a 5-year milestone will be receiving pins in their department. So congratulations to anyone having an anniversary this year. You are our most important asset, and I think one of the things that every presentation, every presenter has done today is to say that without every single one of you, we would not be able to do what we do for our community every single day. So thank you for that. For those of you that are new, it is my pleasure to work with you and to serve you. My team and myself, we have extended our hours in human resources. We are now open from 8 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. to be able to serve you before your shift and after your shift. And I'm pretty much available 24 hours a day to all of you. I've pretty much sent all of you communications with all of my contact information. So if we could go to my first slide. Was it? Okay. Before we go into the most important conversation or the most important topic of the day, which is open enrollment and benefits, I wanted to talk to all of you about PTO. I've received a lot of emails, I've received a lot of calls, and even just a lot of questions in the hallway about the PTO banks. As all of you know, we sent out an FAQ and a memo to all of you about our new maximum rollover for fiscal year 2018-2019. From now on, all of you will only be able to roll over 160 hours of PTO versus prior years where it was 360. What we did in order for you guys to not lose all of the time that you had accumulated was that we created a second PTO bank. Okay, and I've talked to a lot of you in your centers about this one-on-one, but I wanted to explain it here again. Your first PTO bank is going to have a maximum of 160 hours. Your second PTO bank, which will also be printed now in your pay stub, it's called V2, is going to have the difference up to 200 hours because the prior maximum was 360. Now the new maximum is 160. Okay, I've listed an example for an employee that on September 30th had 260 hours of PTO. We placed 160 hours in your PTO Bank 1, and in V2, we placed the excess of 100 hours. We will start pulling from that second PTO bank before we pull from the first in order to utilize that bank and diminish it before we start targeting your maximum allotted to be rolled over to the next year. All of this has been done to protect you and to make sure that your hard-earned time, that you can utilize it. Remember that PTO should be requested with time so that you can actually take time to enjoy your family and to take care of your personal things. You really should be utilizing your PTO time. Sorry. The next thing I wanted to do is I wanted to talk to you guys about open enrollment. This is one of the most important times of the year for human resources, where we talk to you guys about the benefits that we're gonna offer. And I'm not gonna do you guys an injustice and talk to you about our benefits plan. I actually have someone from our broker company here to talk to you guys, but I wanted to mention our dates of communication for you guys. This is key to the success of each one of you being able to select the benefits that really mean something to you and your families. So open enrollment will begin this year on November 13th. We're actually gonna keep our open enrollment open during the same time that we're having our benefit sessions. So we're gonna be open from November 13th through November 30th. We're also gonna begin our benefits meetings on November 13th, and we're gonna go through the 16th. During those meetings, you guys will be able to come in for different sessions at your centers to be able to get information about our new benefits plans, and you're also gonna be able to take some time and have one-on-one time with our broker, and that is key. I want each and every one of you to take this time to make the best benefits decisions. Don't enroll for something that you don't need, okay? Only enroll for the things that you're actually gonna need. And then we're gonna take December in HR to be able to process that. So without further ado, I would actually like to present Catherine Ratcliffe. She's our CEO and partner at Sullivan Benefits. Sullivan is one of the best partnerships that I've ever been able to work with. They're not just here once a year, they're here with us every single day. I have worked a lot of cases with each and every one of you where you've had specific questions about your benefits, and Sullivan is always behind the scenes making sure that we're addressing all of your issues and your needs. So I wanted Catherine to come up here and talk to you about the benefits that we're gonna be offering you for the next fiscal year. So Catherine?
Thank you very much. I think I have a unique perspective from everyone else that's here in that I work with a lot of health centers. And to say that CHI is unique is an understatement. You are my poster child for what a health plan should look like. So we're going to go through a couple of the basic components of the program. We're going to have formal panel sessions where my team will come in. As Carolina said, we're going to go through a complete overview. Today I just want to give you a couple of really key highlights for you to think about. And I think it goes really, really well with what you all have been talking about. So when we put the first slide together, we wanted to talk about what is the actual cost for CHI to offer you. What is the expense? Similar to Jeremy's 1.3 per payroll number, my number for your health plan is $4.28 million. Now guess what? That sounds like a big number, right? It's actually almost a quarter of what most of my other health clients spend. And you know why? Because you have done such a great job with the things that Dr. Amofa and Monica and Blake have talked about for not just your patients, but for yourselves as well. You are truly the poster child of what healthcare should look like in terms of closing those gaps in care, of making sure that you're getting those preventive screenings. But it's still a big number. For each one of you on the health plan, it's almost $8,000 a year of an expense for CHI. So it is not a small item. It is something that we understand is very important to you and to CHI. I think as team members, you should realize how significant that investment is. Continue the success that you have demonstrated in helping us manage that cost. Breast cancer screenings, failing to do those annual screenings can increase the cost of a plan by 6%, right? Because it's such a small thing, but if you don't catch it early, it's a huge expense. Cervical cancer screenings, colorectal screenings, immunizations and vaccines, all of those preventive steps, they're critical for you to make sure that you're getting those done on an annual basis. All of your preventive services, dental, vision, all of it comes together within the program itself. Looking at what CHI pays compared to the norm. For both employer and employees, I wanted to show you what the standard is, because you do have cost share, right? If you do have to go into the hospital, if you do pick up a prescription, if you have an MRI, there is a cost share that you have to pay out. And I think many of you have been here for a long time. I've seen you through all of my pregnancies and stories about my own world. And sometimes we get lost in those benefits and we forget what everyone else out there is experiencing. So even with the cost share that you do have, it's only 18% of a total healthcare bill is the norm for what you're paying versus the norm that we see throughout Florida, throughout other nonprofit blocks, which is 27%. So what you pay, although no one ever likes to pay a bill, it is so significantly less than what other health centers, what other clients would pay. This year, when we go through the benefits open enrollment, we are not making benefit changes to the medical. Everything is going to stay the same. And I wanted to point out that CHI is going to absorb 100% of the increase that you had this year. Definitely deserves a big round of applause. Healthcare costs are rising. Everyone knows that. That's not new, and CHI is not immune from it. But it is important to know that even with that increase, the value that they have placed on you as team members and understanding that not only do you need to be able to provide quality health care to your patients, but you need to be able to access it for yourselves, they have absorbed all of those increases together. The dental as well. We had an increase on the dental, but there will be no payroll deduction changes on the dental. FSA, you'll go through and make those decisions. The vision, there's no changes. Short-term, long-term disability, life insurance, EAP, we're not having any reduction of benefits there. I think it's really important to understand what a comprehensive package this is. I have many, many clients that do not offer all of these programs. You are protected from the moment you are eligible in that you do have tremendous quality health insurance, disability insurance, life insurance, employee assistance program. We've heard a lot about behavioral health and the need to be able to reach out and get some assistance. There are so many components here that CHI provides to you. The plans are not going to change. I just wanted to point out, and the payroll deductions are not going to change, I just wanted to point out one thing, because I think this is, in open enrollment, it's so quick. We come in and we hear that there's not going to be any changes, and you're very focused on the productivity and making sure that you get through your patients and provide them what they need. That a lot of times what we find is people come in and say, I just want to have what I had last year. Where can I sign? I've got to go, right? So the one thing I want to point out with these payroll deductions is what the difference is between that base plan and the high plan. It's going to cost you, if you buy up to that high plan, $2,200, I'm rounding, it's $2,197 per year if you buy that up. That has not changed. That is the exact same as last year, right? But that cost differential is significant, and that does cost more to CHI for you to buy up to that plan, and that's on the single base only, single employee only. We have the wellness component in there. If you go through the preventive steps that we've talked about in the past, we'll go into more detail about them. If you maintain that, you will get a reduction down to those lower payroll deductions for doing that. When you look at your benefit program, I'm really proud of this benefit program. We have worked hard with the executive team to maintain this level of benefits for you. It is $10 if you come into CHI for a non-preventive episode of care. I can't tell you the number of health centers I have, or the number of nonprofit clients or for-profit clients that would give a limb for the type of benefits that CHI offers you. Because so often one of our greatest struggles as a consultant is how to provide affordable care to the employees of the employers that we work with. And for $10, you can come into CHI and see that provider, a non-preventive, preventive's covered 100%. You have really low cost prescription drugs. The choice plan, the base plan, on a CHI basis, they're the same on those costs. The only reason that someone should truly consider taking that choice plan is if you have a need for prescriptions outside of CHI, you have children that reside outside the area, and you need to have them have access outside if they go to university in Georgia or something like that. The prescription programs are incredibly robust. Prescription costs are the fastest growing costs that we have within the healthcare spend. Manage those claims. Look at the offerings from CHI. Look at the copay structures. Determine if you truly need that third tier medication, the most expensive medication, or if a generic drug will work. Make sure you're filling your medications when they are needed. Do not go 40 days on a blood pressure medication, right? Those are some of the things that we struggle with. You are my poster child. You don't have those same challenges, but we've got to keep up the momentum and keep doing it for the coming year. Flex spending is a great tax savings opportunity. If you know you're going to have expenses, you know you're going to have a knee replacement or something like that, it's a good opportunity for you to put some money aside to use for those out-of-pocket expenses. It saves you tax dollars. It's a great, great program. When we look at the dental plans, these are not changing. We're going to maintain the exact same levels of coverage that we had last year. One of the most exciting things, I think, for everybody last year with the switch to Guardian was the college tuition program. I have 3 young kids. The cost of college scares me to death, right? So this is a very easy way for me to put money aside, not even me putting money aside, it's Guardian putting money aside for my kids. My middle child wants to go to University of Tampa. It's a private school. Florida Prepaid is not going to pay anything towards that other than the flat amount. But they can sign up for this, I sign up for this, and they put $200 per child into that account every single quarter. So if you have kids, if you don't have kids, you can do it for your nieces, for your nephews, for your grandchildren. All of the instructions are there. There'll be more information during open enrollment. Life and disability, this is my drum I do not stop beating. Update your beneficiaries. My life has changed since I met you. Your life has changed too. Make sure the beneficiaries are the people that you want. If you're going to leave minor children as your beneficiaries, have a backup plan. No insurance company is going to cut a check to somebody under the age of 18. And it doesn't matter if they're 17, 17 and a half, 17 and 3/4, they will not issue that check. Okay, so make sure those are all updated. The disability insurance, the short-term disability, this is voluntary. If you are thinking about having a surgery, if you are thinking about having any type of procedure, make sure you take a look at that. Again, we will be there one-on-one to go through that. That is payroll-based, so I can't just tell you what the rate is, but you're going to go ahead and look at that with my team as we come through. Long-term disability, this is paid for 100% by CHI, and this will cover you up to 2 years if you had a disability. I was on long-term disability with a bad pregnancy. Everybody thinks it's not going to happen to me. It happens. So make sure you appreciate the long-term disability benefit because it does come into play very often. You have a buy-up option on that if you need it as well. The Employee Assistance Program, every person in this room should have used it last year because there are 100 different reasons why we would use it. Daycare placement, dealing with elderly parents, figuring out 504 plans through the school, figuring out stress-related episodes of care, marital problems, holiday blues, all of those things. You have 24/7 access to all of this. Legal concerns. You have a dispute with a neighbor. All of these things are available. You need a will. You need a power of attorney. Healthcare. All of this is provided to you at no cost from CHI. So make sure you take a look at that. Again, we're going to go through some complete benefit sessions. Please make sure you come to them. Please make sure you ask your questions. Utilize us throughout the year. At any point, we are here for you. Remember to keep the momentum going so that we can maintain that CHI is my gold star standard when it comes to a healthcare center that manages its costs. Thank you so much. We'll see you in a few weeks.
I know that we have imparted a lot of information today, but I always like to open up the session for questions. We have mics. If you have a question, come to one of the mics over here, and we will entertain your questions at this time. Anybody have questions? Okay. Hey guys, you did a good job. Okay, you got the question?
I don't have a question, but I do want to take a quick second just again to encourage everybody to get out and vote. Please do it. Of our 84,000 patients, about 60% of them are uninsured, so I'm saying about 50,000 patients. There are studies out there that say that if Florida was to expand Medicaid, about half of the uninsured population would gain insurance. For CHI, that would be 25,000 patients who would get insurance. And so right now, I can't tell you who to vote for, but I can tell you that there are candidates out there who are interested in expanding Medicaid. And so please, 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 if you haven't already gone out for early voting, make sure you get out there and vote because this is our opportunity to make a difference for our patients and for CHI.
I voted on yesterday. Early voting is now in progress. It's so easy to early vote because there's not many people there and you don't spend a lot of time in long lines. So go out today, tomorrow, do your early voting. We're going to have training following this session, and Romanita gave me a list of where we are going to do the training, and I want to go over that. So if you don't know right now, the general sanctuary here where we are now, clinical training will take place. The choir room, dental department, intake room, managed care department, cry room, managed care department, Baby Kingdom, community outreach training, and then we go to the Doris Eisen Center. Behavioral health will be in the CHI boardroom. Health information management will be in the Doris Eisen HIM office. Lab training, Doris Eisen lab. Administrative training, finance training, Doris Eisen MIS room. IT training, Doris Eisen executive dining room. Pharmacy training, Doris Eisen pharmacy. security training, Doris Eisen Security, logistics training, Doris Eisen. Transportation will be in the parking lot, warehouse training, the Becker Building, environmental training, family medicine, Cook's Doris Eisen Cafe, education conference room, school-based training, Doris Eisen Education Room, human resources training, Doris Eisen HR Department, and PFS training, Doris Eisen Cafe. Thank you very much. I hope you gained some information, and I hope we have made you proud to be workers at CHI. Thank you very much.
It might seem